CNC. We're back.
Ooh, CNC, like the machine that makes stages.
Except we're cutting out episodes.
Ooh, with laser precision.
Yeah.
Right. Good afternoon, everybody. Happy Friday.
Yeah. Happy Friday.
How's it going, Eric?
It's going, man. With me?
You weren't here last week.
I wasn't. I was stuck in traffic. It seems like if I don't leave exactly at 3 o'clock, I have a window of like 3 to 3:15, and if I don't make it, it's all done. It's all done.
Why is traffic still a thing? I was promised flying cars.
I thought we'd be teleporting by now. Take me home.
It's one of the worst things.
Teleporting?
No. Traffic. Of technology.
Yes, I would agree. So we're back, and we have some good topics. I think they're pretty good topics. I think they're pretty good topics.
Yes, sir.
We're going to talk
Eric's
about
back, so actual topics are back.
Yeah. Is Morelia bredli a carpet python? Will be a discussion that we would have. I saw a little post on Facebook about that. I thought that would be cool. And we got Mr. Craig Woods in the house, and the dude cranks out the most amazing IJs I've ever seen. And
understatement.
I just think that we should have a discussion about the future of this subspecies and what our thoughts are about where we go. So that's kind of on the docket. But first, let's talk mullets. Yes, mullets. I was rocking a mullet when Lucas was born.
That's correct. So yes, a hilarious chat ensued on the MPR chat where Brett used like BL as a measurement of time before Lucas. It's like, that's 3 years BL. It's like, so I came in and was like, for the record, I was born in 1996. And then everybody started posting pictures of themselves from 1996. And let's just say Eric had an epic party in the back, business in the front situation.
Oh yeah, 100%. Well, it was my Van Halen picture, and it was right at that time. How did I get a sneak attack in here? Hold on. It was right at that time, right before Metallica and everybody cut their hair. So it was like all of a sudden, just everybody cut their hair. I think it was like maybe a couple years before that, but I don't know. I was holding on to hope that it would come back. The Joe Elliott look.
It always does.
I will say the teenagers in high school where my cousins live up the road, some of them were rocking mullets completely intentionally for a while. Dirt bikers, athletes, a lot of baseball players are doing it.
I almost had one when I was younger because I thought I was going to grow the back of my head out to get the little Papuan rat tail, the little Star Wars nerd that I was. But it just turned into a mullet. So,
I did. I rocked it, But hey,
you looked good.
It was a good day, man. I was hanging out with Van Halen. So, I mean, what are you going to do? If that's what I had to do it, so be it. But
hell yeah,
it's just funny.
That was really funny. And then Keith was like, all right, who's the oldest fart in the chat? Right, yeah, that was a good one.
I think it was Keith, right?
I think he won. Yeah, he started the game and he won the game.
It sounds like it was rigged.
Justin Julander was like, I could be your dad. So I said, Papa? Papa, is that you?
He said the one thing when we were in Australia and we were coming back, we were waiting and we were just talking about the trip or whatever. And Keith sitting there and I said something like, man, I hope I could still do this when I'm 60, and Keith is 60. So he's like looking at me like, what the hell, man? And I'm like, oh shit, I didn't realize you were 60.
Right.
It was a great photo. Yes, I have that photo framed. Of course. I mean, come on, man. Like, mullets are back, according to Jason. I like it.
At least in Australia, according to Darren.
Yes. So let's talk coffee here for a minute. I did
Okay.
get this new coffee. It is delicious.
Temple.
Yes.
It's from Sacramento.
Yes.
Is it? Oh, nice.
Sacramento, California.
Hey.
The Dharma Espresso Blend. Yeah, it's really good.
Oh, you're doing espresso.
Yes. Well, now that I got the espresso machine,
Ah.
I'm having fun with that. So that's what I'm drinking. I'm not drinking it now because it's too late. But
The flaw
I
of
am.
our podcast.
Yeah, yeah. We do a
Reminiscing
coffee show.
upon coffee. Yeah.
Yes, I had coffee earlier. It was
I did as
delicious.
well. Yes, I did.
Mhm.
And it was Pete's
Mm.
medium
Pete's.
roast. I really need to get more adventurous.
He loves that pizza.
I love it. It's right down the street. I can walk there. When you get up in the morning, you open the cupboard and you realize you're out of beans. The last thing you want to do is struggle to get more beans. Like, you're a zombie. So I just kind of waddle my way over to Pete's. I'm like, beans and everything as well. So,
Right.
but it was delicious. And I've been transitioning back to pour over, like in the little Chemex thing instead of the machine.
Yes.
It just feels more involved, has a little bit of a different taste. It's
Yeah.
fun. Yeah.
If you do it
stuff.
right, you can really get it. You can really dial that in. To some
Absolutely.
delicious
Yeah.
stuff, you know?
I understand, the people that whip out a scale and really master those ratios and temperatures. Yeah, I get it. It's chemistry. Yeah.
Guilty.
Yeah. It's legit.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What about you, Riley? What you been drinking on?
Today I actually had some Dunkin' Donuts medium roast. Well, I pulled up to
America.
Yeah, I pulled up to Glenn's house. Glenn Brooks is local to me, and I got out of the car and I was stretching and yawning, and he goes, "You want some coffee?" And I was like, "Oh, okay, yeah, actually I do." And so had a cup of coffee while we looked at some cool snakes.
That's
And
cool.
Then,
You go over there for anything in particular or just hanging?
well, every time I go there, we go through his collection and see like what's grown up, what's moved on, or kind of, he's got very finite space. So the only thing that ever changes is kind of like certain animals growing up that I've seen, or new babies and whatnot. So I went over there to help him sex his annulated tree boas because they're eating and big enough to finally actually sex. And then he had a litter of Colombian rainbow boas, so I sexed those for him while we were there. Those annulateds are like several months old, and they are still like really small. So that was interesting, but we got them figured out. And then had some food. Had a good sandwich that was almost like a Philly cheesesteak. It was good. It was really good, and yeah. That was that. That was my coffee and reptile morning experience.
Did it have
Very
caramelized onions on the cheesesteak?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. Fair enough.
So it basically it was like they didn't call it a cheesesteak, obviously, because they can't claim that. But it was basically a grilled steak sandwich with melted cheese. And then they have the option to add on, grilled onions and mushrooms. I just went for onions. So
Yeah. Good
Very
call.
good.
Good call.
on a nice French roll, of course.
They were making fun of me on the herp trip because like Rob, well, actually it started with Rob making fun of me because we've been on so many trips together. But whenever I get anything, it's usually involves caramelized onions. Here on the East Coast, we call it fried onions.
Okay.
I think in other parts they call them sauteed. Some call them caramelized.
They call them grilled out here.
Grilled is another one.
Yeah.
So we were at this one place and we were having lunch and I got a burger and I was like, can I get some caramelized onions on there? And they're all like, oh, Eric with his caramelized onions and whatever. But We found so many snakes that day that we've realized that the what do you call it? The idea of having caramelized onions, and Justin's in the chat. He'll remember from that little burger spot where he wrote on there Baird's Rule or whatever. Caramelized onions was the key to that burger, man. It's just it's always the most delicious thing.
I will jump at any opportunity for some caramelized onions. You best believe.
Yeah.
Yes.
I would even venture to say caramelized onions might have been the reason for your success in that day herping.
Yes, this is what they said.
Mhm.
This is exactly what it came to.
I
It's
see
like,
the correlation.
so every place we went didn't matter. Tacos, put caramelized onions on it. Like, whatever.
Pancakes, onions.
I did not.
Even if you're not even like eating them, you just got to pull over on the side of the road, burner, skillet, burn them, and then chuck them, and then you're good. It's like an offering to the gods.
It's a pretty exemplary dish in that all you need is heat, onion, and an oil or butter. You don't need seasoning. It is the seasoning.
Right. Yes. Yes. I knew I liked you for a reason, Lucas. Yes. Preach it, brother.
Onions.
So we went from coffee to onions, and now we're going to talk about what's going on personally. Well, it's been a long time.
Onions have layers, just like this podcast.
That's right. I had some snakes come this week, which is a rarity for me.
Wow.
As of late.
Yeah.
But the Dr. Drew Lander, sent me, doctor. He sent me pygmy pythons, which is awesome, and an unrelated pair of Western Stimsons, which is awesome.
Cool.
So now I have 2.2 unrelated.
Are those different than the wheat belt ones?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Different locality.
Cool.
Wheat.
Wheat thins.
Wheat
thins.
What's that say? Oh, they put them on everything. Caramelized onions. They're still
Justin's
talking
just
caramelized
throwing your
onions in the
onion
chat.
habit on on blast.
Put them on some wheat thins.
Wheat thins with onions. Put them on a pygmy python.
And I got so this is a cool thing. You know, for a long time on NPR, I talked about albino citrus tiger and Owen in all his pain and from getting his tooth ripped out. And as he's driving in a circle around my block for hours and hours because he's in so much pain, he delivered the IJ and the albino citrus tiger. And it was so cool to finally see it in person from that guy right down there. Man, that was cool, man. So thank you.
Is she in shed?
Yes.
Yeah, wait till she sheds. Wait till she sheds, dude.
Oh, really? That's the best. When it looks really good in shed, and then when you see it after shed, then you're like, holy hell. I can't imagine. But to see that come to be alive in front of me, it's like, oh wow, that's awesome. So
yeah, they're cool. They're really cool.
How many years of work to get that in your hands, Eric? How many years of thought?
Ooh. 8.
That's cool.
Maybe 8.
Yeah.
When did,
of course, Riley taking it across the finish tap.
She's 2016.
Yeah. So
they were produced last year. So that's 5 years from her birth. So whenever you picked those up and paired the albino to one of them, plus 5. So
wow. Okay. Wow. 2016. Jesus.
Yeah, I know. I keep checking all these animals. I'm like, holy shit, that female is 12 years old.
Yes.
What?
That's kind of crazy. But yeah, and that IJ is a smoker. Yeah, so awesome. So I had a happy snake week for me.
Did it bite you right out the box?
No.
That one's gotten a little more mellow. It's like hit and miss whether it decides to do anything. And half the time I go to pick it up, it just kind of like tenses and bluffs and then just sits there all like, I can't figure out if I want to hurt you or not.
Have you noticed that the closer to wild caught IJs are way different than the captive bred?
Yeah. They behave
completely different.
Yeah, they're always on D. Always on D. It's really weird. I upgraded some of them recently and like doubled the enclosure size, and I thought it would like, make them relax a little bit more, and they're still really intense. Like really like not happy with my existence.
But well,
they don't like me.
And then I guess the only other news that I have as far as the NPR network stuff is that I wanted to give the shout out to the upcoming Boa podcast.
BBB.
Yeah. I'm glad that it's finally off the ground, and it's going to be a monthly podcast, and it's by Rob Stone, Keith McPeak, and Warren Booth. I think that's a pretty powerhouse lineup. They're not Eric, Lucas, and Riley, but you can only.
Yeah, you're right. They actually know what they're doing.
Yeah.
I can't wait. I'm just kidding.
So it's like
Eric, you fit in with the other group. Me and Riley are the ones that don't know what we're doing.
Oh no, my friend. Oh no. You have it quite backwards. It's going to be 100% boa. All about boas. I think that there's been such a need for a boa podcast for such a long time.
And there's so many different avenues to discuss too, like emeralds and ground boas and all, there's a million things. It's such a big world that has been unoccupied by the network.
Right. Yeah. And even just, I think the only boa one I remember was Vin Russo did one years ago, and then they did that Boa Rack Radio.
That was a great show,
and then it just kind of stopped. So hopefully everything. I just imagine that being a great show. So they're just going to talk about everything: rainbow boas, dwarf boas, boa constrictors, natural history, tree boas, sand boas.
I don't sand boas,
rubber boas, Madagascan boas. There's a lot of Solomon Island boas,
all those West Indian boas and all that stuff.
Puerto Rican boas, Cuban boas, Jamaican boas.
God.
How is there not a podcast on it before this though? Like
it seems nobody likes them.
They're not pythons. Who cares?
Just kidding.
So all right,
don't burn my house down.
What's up with you guys?
Well, let's see. I definitely also got some fun new stuff, but we talked about it last week without you. But Womena scrubbies, a little Queensland water python.
Nice.
Some Lake Chapala garter snakes.
How do you like those garter snakes?
Freaking awesome, man. Yeah. They're so fun. And those ones are a little bigger. They actually get bigger than the California giant garter snake. And they're not super musky. So it's fun.
Nice.
Sizable. Yeah, good. But other than that, clutch of jungles hit the ground finally on Wednesday. That felt really good because those snakes started locking up during Halloween and didn't ovulate until Riley delivered cages to myself like 4 months later. So it's a long process, but everything turned out. It all happened.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
How many eggs were in the clutch again? What'd you
13
say?
eggs.
13. Okay.
And
I did. Size.
Yeah, they look good. I see good veins in all of them. That's something I didn't check for with the Bruddles last year, and I lost, a bunch of eggs a few weeks in that I found to be fully shelled and fertile. So I wanted to check for that at the start this time and see if I could tell if anything wasn't gonna be good. But they all look good. We'll see what happens. Western blackhead is in shed.
Nice.
which is crazy.
Nice.
Yeah. I'm still
awesome.
trying to expect catastrophic. I don't want to get excited.
Not until you see the head pipping out, right?
Exactly. But I did not expect it to get to this point this season, so I can be happy with that.
Yeah. So that would be 2 species that you bred this year that you just got this year.
The one was 2.
Oh, 3. Excuse me.
Wow. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, well, I guess I was asking because they weren't fertile, but that's Owen's fault. He broke that snake. I still bred them. No.
He broke them. You can't help it if you get defective merchandise. You know
what
I mean?
would I expect from Owen McIntyre? No, I'm just kidding. Sorry.
Macawookiensis? What is it?
The Mac and Wookie.
Yes. The Mac and Wookie.
The Mac and Wookie.
I call them Mac and Wookie Owenensis.
Owenensis.
He's gonna hate me. Okay, cool.
We're gonna turn that into a best-selling T-shirt, by the way.
Yes, yes.
Just you wait.
But yeah. So in that respect, if the blackhead actually lays eggs, that would be 4 for 4 on the new species this year. Yeah.
Look at you crushing it.
And then Brettles, we'll see.
Wow. I'm just a chump over here with trying to breed diamond pythons.
Well, anybody can do what I'm doing. It's all up to the snakes.
Yes. Mac and squash. Yeah. Okay.
Mac squash. I like Mac and Wookie.
Yeah. And then that picture we have of him is the greatest. But what about you, Riley? What's new with you?
I don't know. I've just been
You're like me, man.
I've been sending out snakes. I haven't been buying anything. I've been spending money on guns and toys, but
keep your feet in multiple pools.
Yeah, it's good to have expensive hobbies. It keeps you grounded. Keeps you at home.
That's how me and Eric are with guitars, I bet.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I bought some cool new pedals and all.
Oh,
yes.
We'll have an offline chat.
I woke up this morning and was like, "Ooh, I'm gonna go get more ammo." And while I'm there, I'll get some gun lube and a new set and a new range bag. And next thing I know, I'm like $220. I'm like, holy shit! What did I just do?
I got a wedding to pay for. What am I doing?
Well, wedding, guns, it all goes together.
One keeps the other alive. Which is it?
Yeah. Oh boy.
Just kidding.
But otherwise, my I think my season's pretty much over. Other than I'm waiting on rainbows to drop. I've got all the eggs on the ground that I'm expecting, and I don't think my Brettles will do anything, but I'm still feeding, separating, and pairing. But
yeah,
I still don't believe I got them cool enough. So
you had a total of how many clutches?
5 carpet clutches and then the Crebo clutch.
Sweet.
Cool. Okay.
So
pretty good.
65 carpet eggs, although that one clutch from the female that got egg bound, one of those is already going bad, so it's looking like that'll be 4 survivors from that one, and then the Crebo eggs are still looking alive at a month in. So there's 5 eggs, and they've got another 70 or so days to go.
Right.
Nice.
Okay.
So by then I should have rainbow litter dropping. And then this girl, I'm keeping a close eye on because she's doing all the same behaviors as this girl. She's just never bred before. And I haven't caught her with the male at all this season, even though I've paired plenty of times, but she just seems to run away. So unless they locked up when I wasn't looking, I don't know. But she's acting very peculiar and a lot of side rolling and swelling, unusually so.
Right on.
Cool.
Anything cool dropping at the shop? I know there's been some fun clutches at East Bay, so I'm wondering what's going on at GX3.
So we got a blood python clutch from an animal Grant produced like I want to say 3 or 4 years ago. For it's a T positive batik, and she just dropped a clutch of eggs. We've got 10 eggs on the ground from that reduced pattern Woma.
Excellent.
We're waiting on that other woman to see if she wants to go. Waiting on the blackhead, that really nice one. She looks like she might go. And then keeping an eye on sail fins for eggs from one female in particular. We got another black dragon clutch.
Rudy is a champion.
Yeah. And we didn't breed her this last cycle of hers, but we still got some fertile eggs in there. So we were trying to give her a break.
He said, I don't need it.
Yeah, I guess. So we'll see if those eggs are any good.
Yeah.
In the next couple months. But no, the ring python, our female slugged out, so no rings. We should have 2 gravid boas, those double het El Diablos.
Yeah.
We should be making some more of those.
Nice.
Those were nice. Those were nice last year.
Yeah. They took their time getting people to really notice and appreciate them, and once they did, it was really cool to see people really dig those babies. So
for sure, didn't take time for people to appreciate the Womas, so that's
no,
good that there will be more.
Those things were gone as soon as I posted them on the internet.
I know. I had to you and I both had to tape our names on something before they all vanished.
yeah, really fast. So and then a lot of ball python stuff. Feeding the need for the industry. So
there you go.
Is the ball python stuff like higher end, lower end, middle? Like, how does that work in the shop?
So our stuff that does best in the shop is everything in the $350 and below range. So from a $90 like normal to a couple gene animal, and we tend to price things lower than what you'll see online too. So but then other stuff, that's in the, 500, 800, 1,000 and up range, we tend to sell more online. But I'd say we produce kind of a 50-50 ratio. We do have some animals that we pair just to get Lucy's out of every season, get Mystic Potions out of, and crystals and things that look really nice and sell that'll make great pets that aren't super expensive, but are a little bit flashier than your average normal wild type.
Right.
So we have that variety. And then, we also do the high end stuff like Desert Ghost Clowns and,
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. My boss has been producing those for a few years. He's next working on like Desert Ghost, G-Stripe Clowns. And we've got pied females going in with like, I don't know, other hide things. So they're
very good.
The pretty looking pink and yellow. I don't know what it's called right now.
It's so funny when non-ball python people talk about ball.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't know. Clown.
They sell really well. All I know.
Yeah.
Actually, that market went back up in the last 2 years. So.
Clown. Oh yeah, I mean, probably because of
ball
what Bilk was doing, right?
Yeah, I mean, all those big names are really turning it up a notch just for themselves, and it's having like a ripple effect just everywhere. So,
yeah,
nice.
Is it the breeding, or do they just want a pet? Is it what do you find more of?
Both, honestly. I mean, the in-store and the pet stuff, I find a lot of people looking for a flashy, pretty pet, but then there's also a decent percentage of people that come in that have a small collection with the intent of breeding a clutch or two here and there. So
people love a blue-eyed Lucy for a pet.
Dude,
that's what I was gonna say.
We sell out of those for pets.
Okay.
Those never go to people for breeding. Those are people buying pets. Honestly, that's what we get people buying to that's their first pet snake, or getting their girlfriend or boyfriend into it, or getting their parents into it. Like, that's what they do. And I mean, those things sell faster as you can produce them. So
100%. Same thing out here. Yeah.
That's cool. I remember Bill Stiegel told me that because he would do both, right? And he would say that he would go to a reptile show, and that's what you sort of, if you wanted to make those sales, that's sort of what you wanted to do. Matt Minatola told me the same thing, like, basically saying there's something about the white snake that, the pet keeper just like, yes.
If you are doing ball pythons, you're kind of offering two ends of the extreme. If you've got some normal stuff on the darker side, and then you don't like that, well, then you're probably gonna like an all white snake. You fall somewhere along that.
I mean, that's a $400 snake all day.
Yeah,
man.
Yeah.
That's
what is not a $400 snake. We got some Mandarin Sanzinia in at East Bay, and it blew my freaking mind what they decided to list those at, and they sold.
Wow.
Sanzinia, regardless of it, if it's Mandarin or green, are super hot right now.
$4,500
What?
for an adult female.
Oh, I was gonna say for a baby. Like, good God.
No, not for a baby, but sold within a week.
Oh,
as soon as it hit Morph Market, it was wild.
I believe it.
Wow.
Yeah, because I've told this story before. I'm so mad that when there was a baby Sanzinia sitting in the cage when I worked there in 2019, listed for $650, I was just like, huh. That's cool.
If it makes you feel any better, the Serpentarium out here had one, and they didn't know what it was, and they listed it for $299, and I got off work, drove down, and bought it sight unseen.
I remember that. Oh, nice. It's insane.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
The new girls there didn't know what they had, and there wasn't a manager there, so I won.
You won.
Customer winner today. Yes.
Yep.
Yeah. So Sid asked, in the Morelia world, what sells at shows? Selling carpets at shows is very, very difficult. If you want to sell some type of Morelia at a show, make it a green tree python. You will sell it, but
otherwise you got to bring adults.
Yeah, it's hard to sell. Jungles are hard. I found that all carpets are hard, but and even I remember Owen selling bredli at Tinley, and if he didn't have his adult, he wouldn't have sold what he sold.
Right. Well, there's a few things working against you, right? I mean, for one, these snakes are ugly ducklings when they come out of the egg,
and usually for the first year.
Absolutely. Yeah. So unless you have something like the parents to show people like, no, I swear it turns red or it turns yellow. They're like, yeah, okay, buddy. I bet. And then also just the unfortunate perception that a lot of people have that carpet pythons are bitey and huge. You're fighting a few different things. Because with shows, not everybody's gonna be familiar with the species outside of those first few things you hear out the corner of your ear when you're into something else,
Right. Yeah. So, that's kind of why I stopped doing shows, to be honest. I used to go to Tinley Park and I don't know, it just seemed like I'm lugging my animals, and most of the sales that I would have done were pre-show. I didn't really get a whole lot of people. And, really, when you think about it, I guess it was because I had more higher end stuff. You really have to want, I don't know, an albino zebra jag, or, you know what I mean? You have to be in the market for that. I don't think you're going to be walking around the show, especially back then when they were as much as they were. You're just, I don't know, just seemed like a waste. So I would have much rather just went to the show, and if somebody had an animal, just bring one animal and give it to them at the show.
Right.
Sure.
And then vend it. So, but
I'm nervous.
Me.
I don't know if I ever will.
Well, see, I'm kind of with you there, but lately what I've been noticing is that when I talk to people at shows that I have not been able to or didn't go to for whatever reason, there's never good representation of carpet pythons or Morelia for that matter. It's a couple here, a couple at a triple L table, a chondro here, a couple import Beox there. That's kind of it. And so I wonder how much of, the experience that you guys had with the carpet row and everything is now lost to this newer generation. And then the other thing that I want to throw out there just as a food for thought is, now that we're seeing all this pendulum swinging back into the obscure or fringe niche species, carpet pythons are in a great status position to be one of those species that gets a lot of love and is re-energized from this reinsurgence of people swinging in. And I feel like as much of it is, biosecurity, bringing your animals there and then having to bring them back home and quarantine and the pain in the ass and the table fees and stuff, and yes, I get it. Digital and online sales are far easier. It's less overhead, this and that. But I don't know, man, something about the value of the presence in the hobby and keeping that, opportunity, I guess, for lack of a better word, for some of those people looking for something to discover it. Because you can't predict if there's going to be, a huge turnout for carpets at one show or the other. I talk to Todd every time I see him. I was like, how's it going? How's the show? And every show is different. There's no rhyme or reason. Before or after, you can't tell. It's either hit or it's miss. And if you're not there, you always miss. So, I don't know.
Yeah. And that's the other thing too, right? You're competing with guys like Kerry and Todd and Phil at Star Pythons, especially at those bigger shows.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, they do it as a job, so it's gonna be, you know what I mean? I just don't know, how do you even begin to compete with that, especially with what I was doing at the time. It just seemed like, I don't know,
sure,
find your angle, right? I mean, whether that means bringing something with you that is more of an obscure species, or just thinking of how even the species you have in common with every other, not every other, but with other tables at that show, how are yours different, right? Is it the way you take care of them? Maybe that's your angle. Maybe you have a big old picture of this crazy naturalistic enclosure you keep them in. That can be something that matters to some consumers. I have people message me all the time and ask how I take care of my snakes, and they're like, I'm looking for a pet, but I don't want to purchase one of those rack snakes. So that's another conversation, but my point is, there's always a way you can at least try to differentiate yourself.
Oh yeah. I guess when you're in the morph game, it's
that's different.
I mean, having being on NPR obviously helped, right? So I didn't have to fight the whole, who's this person type of deal. But I don't know. I don't know. But it kind of just led me to the point where it's like, to what Riley said earlier, like the whole biosecurity part of it.
Right. That's what scares me.
Is it worth it? Because the majority of what I'm doing, I'm selling online, and even the stuff that I'm selling at shows, I'm pre-selling ahead of time. So I don't know.
And then there's this.
Yes, I know. I saw that. Oh, Billy.
No comment needed.
Which is super annoying. But you could potentially make a new.
To be honest, this is how Owen sort of started to branch out into more obscure species. Because Owen
wanted other stuff on his table, right?
He is a show guy, right? That's his thing. He loves doing it. I think he just loves the, some people do, some people don't, right?
Mm-hmm.
But he's always about having that other thing on the table. And usually that, I remember when we went to Tinley the one year, he was the only one that really had Dominican red mountain boas. And I'm thinking these aren't going to sell. Who wants this, And then, it's it's kind of okay, they sold. So he sold them,
Yeah, you just never know. I think, but I think now with this resurgence in the hobby, it's there's a lot of new faces in there. It's a good opportunity to put some of these cool animals in front of people who maybe aren't getting them crossing their visual path or in the digital realm as much, you know?
Yeah, 100%.
But like I can't really say much though, because I've never vended just for myself. I've brought snakes and vended with other people, but my stuff I don't produce enough. Like my stuff sells before the shows that are worth my time and area come around usually. Like,
yeah,
you know?
Yeah, 100%. Okay, ready to switch gears and
let's do it.
Let's talk some bredli. So there was they're quite nice. Some people even call them the superior Morelia. It's just how
I would.
I would hope you would. I mean, you know, based on your logo and all that kind of stuff. Are they carpet pythons? So there was a post I saw on Facebook. It was by Casey Keast, I think is I guess, yeah. So I'm going to read what he said, and then we'll kind of dive into it, or what you guys' thoughts are. So it was brought to my attention a couple times just this past week, the question of, are bredlis pythons carpet pythons? I am the farthest thing from an expert on the topic, but I believe in science, and science shows that bredlis are significantly different from the rest of the carpet python populations, hence being moved to full species status. I would like to know everyone's opinions on this. So are they just a cool coastal carpet that got isolated in the desert?
How dare you?
Or do they deserve the full species status that they hold? As a private small-time reptile keeper, keeping both coastals and bredlis and having them out side by side for comparison, you can clearly see the difference between the two species. I would just like to hear what the carpet python community has to say on the topic. Who wants to go first?
Lucas.
Okay, I'll go first.
Yes.
No, they are not.
Yes.
And the reason I say they're not is because, in my mind, a carpet python, that label does not refer to a semi-arboreal snake with a prehensile tail. If that's what it meant, with an elaborate pattern, if that's what it meant, a scrub's a carpet python, a retic, you could argue, is a carpet python. I say the term carpet python refers exclusively to the pythons designated to Morelia spilota.
Okay.
That is how I view it. So you can absolutely say bredli look like carpet pythons and are similar to carpet pythons, but they are not carpet pythons because they are a separate species. They are not spilota, nor have they ever been, as Nick likes to point out every time this comes up. I can hear it. It's in my head. They have never been a carpet python. But
in fact,
yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yes.
If you define a carpet python as a semi-arboreal snake with a prehensile tail and a pattern that looks like a rug, there's a lot of shit that could be a carpet python, but that's not what it means.
Yeah.
That's it.
Okay, Riley, what's your thoughts?
What Lucas said.
Okay.
Can we wait, Justin?
I can't breed them, but I can breed carpet pythons. So
I'm genuinely interested here. Justin, are you feeling the opposite? If so, maybe we could send him a link. I'd love to hear his side of this. Carpet-ish.
Yes.
Taxonomy. It is subjective, but it's also really important. And Loafman has made me believe that. I used to think that it didn't matter.
So let me ask this question. What is it that makes it so important? Not that I disagree with you. I'm just curious of what the thought is. Like what is it that makes that so important?
I'm not prepared to answer that well. and I'm afraid to try.
Okay. Then don't. I don't want to put you on the spot. I just was curious.
Yes, it is completely made up. Yes, it hinges on in a subjective cutoff line that whoever writes the paper decides where that cutoff line is.
Right.
But I guess there are far more ramifications and issues that we run into from lumping things together and assuming they're the same than there are from seeing the broader world as everything's a little bit different. I don't know. I think that lots of mistakes have been made from lumping, and not a single one that I can find has been made by splitting in terms of management, conservation, et cetera, et cetera. So I don't know. I guess that's what I got for now.
Okay. So for me, clearly, oh, there I go. Total Nick on you.
Clearly.
They're a full species, right? I don't think that anybody's going to disagree with that. But I sort of look at them taxonomically as a sister species to the Spilota complex. And I get what you're saying about as far as like, they're not a Spilota. Some people will argue that maybe diamond pythons should be a full species, and that's for people way smarter than me to figure out. However, I think who was it? Dario had a couple good comments, right? So in thinking that, right, is a southwestern carpet python not a carpet python? Because that's a full species. It's no longer Spilota. It fills the same niche as a carpet python would on the East Coast, but it's on the West Coast.
Yeah.
So to me, I look at bredli as a species that was related to Spilota at one point, but somehow got into this desert, and now they're isolated, and they've sort of become their own species, and here we are today. I think
the argument can be made that Imbricata is just as much Imbricata and not a carpet as Bredls.
Right.
But I don't think that the work has been done yet
for that
to make that clear. Has it?
I think wasn't that in the Taylor thesis that they did the Imbricata and raised it to full species?
Oh, sorry, that's not what I mean. Never mind. Yes, absolutely.
Okay, I'm sorry. Maybe I misunderstood what you're saying.
No, it's okay.
But I think Dario brought up this comment as well, and this was sort of my thought, is like that, green trees kind of fall into the same thing, right? Because you have Azuria and you have Viridis, and if you've ever held a Aru and a Biak in your hands, they are just as different as a bredli and a carpet python, in my opinion. I mean, their head structure is different. Yeah. Right. I mean, they're just completely two different snakes, but we call them green trees. So is it?
I think we'd all agree. I think all three of us would agree that the green tree complex needs some work.
Well,
there's probably what is it? I think it's 5 or 6 species, right?
Yes.
Implied by Natush's findings.
Well, I guess that wouldn't be because I guess at the end of the day, to what you were saying earlier, is that the carpet pythons fall into Spilota, whereas with an Aru and a Biak, they're just full species, right? Is that
at this point that is correct?
Okay, so yeah, I don't know, man. So I guess to me, for the sake of carpet python discussion, I don't see why they can't be included, because many people that keep carpet pythons look at Bredls as a desert carpet python.
Yeah, I say exactly. Include them by all means.
in phenotype, and they have a common ancestor. So technically, my answer would be technically they're not a carpet python,
right?
But you can see that they were definitely related at some point.
Exactly, which I guess is semantics, and it just the answer to that question depends on what you think carpet refers to.
At the end of the day, we're trying to put a strict definition on a loosely defined common name for a group of animals that is divided amongst multiple species and subspecies. And so where does that line fall? And then the other challenging layer is you can't just say everything in Morelia is a carpet python, because what does that mean for refuse and chondros? Does that mean they need their own thing? Or is that just making too much of a mountain out of a molehill? And this whole term carpet python is just as subjective as it wants to be, because it's just a common name anyway.
Right.
Like we have the binomial nomenclature. We have the scientific names. That's where we can really split hairs and have hard definitions. Common names are about as flippant as the weather, it seems. So
yeah, I think, I kind of I was thinking about this question, and I was kind of thinking about, like, as I've herped the deserts for the last like couple of years, is that the only place I seem to go anymore is the desert. You can definitely see how the animals, reptiles, whatever, have evolved in that environment, and why they sort of have, certain looks. And you can see the difference between why a bredlis would look the way it does, as opposed to a carpet python that maybe is in the rainforest, or, in, scrub land or whatever, you know what I mean? So I can see how, and I think that's kind of like what I love about bredlis, is that you sort of, we're not able to see some of the other carpet pythons that maybe will be on their own trajectory millions of years from now, if everything is still around and life is good. That, basically, who knows? We might have more species at that point of carpet pythons, providing that we don't screw things up. But we have this little snapshot of this one species that's sort of like, we just came at the right time, I guess, and we're able to see what happens when a carpet python is put into the desert and sort of goes on its own trajectory, or I should say a carpet python like animal, right? Because it's not actually a carpet python. What is it? Morelia river silensis is the ancestor, I believe, of them. So I don't know. It's kind of cool in that way. And, I think for me, it sort of led me down a different path of thinking. Like, I get why people that keep naturalistic are not necessarily after a morph, right? Because if you're keeping naturalistic, you have a tendency to sort of geek out on the environment, and you're trying to replicate that environment as much as you can. And when you're replicating that, I think of those rattlesnakes that the specks that they just blend into those granite rocks, and it's just gone. You know what I mean? And like, they look that way because of because of the environment. So it just would seem to make sense to me that somebody that's looking to replicate that doesn't necessarily want, an albino or something like that in an enclosure where they're trying to replicate the Kimberly, if that makes sense.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I don't know. Little tangent, but okay. So we've decided that they are somewhat carpet pythons.
I get it. I do. And I also
But they're
acknowledge that it doesn't matter.
Yes.
Yeah.
Just a snake in a box.
Hey,
right?
hey, no more of that name in the chat in there. That's 2 strikes for the chat. One more, and you're gonna invoke an evil spirit that we shall not name. I've seen that that name in there twice. 3 times is a no-no.
Yeah. Exactly. How dare you?
It's like Beetlejuice, all right? Y'all know what that means, so ease up.
All right. So we kind of put that I think we've put that topic to rest. I know a lot of people hate taxonomy or whatever. I just thought that's a good question for people that are coming into carpet pythons that kind of get confused. Ginger desert carpet.
Correct. I think that it's also just I find myself keeping in mind that if you dropped a lot of the Spolota carpets into bredli land, they would die.
Yes.
That's it.
Yeah. You're not wrong. Yeah. 100%. I have a better topic to talk about. And that would be IJs. So, wow. So, okay. So for going back to 2006, I would be on MP and I would watch guys like Yasser, Mike Pinnell, Luke Snell, Julie Bender, Anthony Caponetto. There were a few of them that were working with the IJs, and they were kind of the dirt carpets at the time that, I don't know, nobody really seemed to care about. So I guess about the time that we started NPR, you would, everybody was like working on selectively bred jungles. And like, I feel like we've sort of gone to, with jungles, they seem to just all look the same to a certain extent now. Whereas like, I think there was a lot more variety back in the day, but I don't know. I don't know what your thoughts on that are. But the point is that, man, they made these snakes that were glowing yellow and the black was as dark as like a nothingless void. I mean, it was just like, it was just crazy how insane they took these snakes and just selectively bred them to look a certain way. And I don't know, IJs just seemed the way to go because for a couple of reasons. One, nobody was really doing anything with them. And the thought would be that if you could do jungles like this, why the hell couldn't you do IJs in the same level? And then, you also have the advantage that we can get wild caught animals, which totally changes the game when it comes to having a breeding colony. And, I guess around that time is just sort of when I went and just started getting as many IJs as I possibly could. I knew that it would happen. I just didn't realize how fast it would happen. And I see guys like Craig, like this snake is just, I mean, I don't. Oh, come on, man. Like,
yeah.
I don't know, man.
That's nice.
Yes. And I just see like things that he's doing, and Riley, you're producing amazing ones. I'm trying to think who else at the moment is like just knocking it out of the park when it comes to IJs. Steve Katz, he was doing a lot of cool stuff. Who else am I forgetting, Riley?
Salemi's a little sleeper in there. He produces some nice ones.
Oh, that wild caught stripe one he has.
Yeah, that one's really nice. Bratz had a good year with some a few years back. I have one of his that's really, really pretty unique, different from the rest of mine. Nick has been producing some killer ones.
Nick was a little bit of a sleeper on the whole IJ front. Like for years he didn't do hardly anything with them except make granites.
Yeah.
And then like I think he got like, hey, wait a minute, all these other people are doing IJs. I better catch up,
Yeah.
But yeah, he's producing some killer ones.
Yeah.
I don't have any.
Yeah, you do. You have two that are here that will be making their way there at some point.
I think you said that last year.
I think I did. Well, look, I've just fed them for you for the year. But these are like, these are the ones that came from the banded animal, which, by the way, that one you sent me, Riley, with the bands, like the one Do you have a holdback from that's banded like that? What
Yeah.
sex is it? Male or female?
Are you talking about from this year?
Yeah.
The most recent one? The ones I kept from 2019 are all banded.
Okay.
So I kept 1.2 from that same pairing, but from 2 years prior.
I'll have to maybe send you a male then, since you have 2 females. So then you would have unrelated.
There you go.
Because this would be F3. Because these ones are like crazy banded.
Nice.
Fire on the bottom of the saddles and stuff. Just really, really, really nice.
Nice.
Yes, please.
Yeah. So yeah, I held on to them for a while to see how they kind of came up, but
gotta.
And then it makes me think also. I know we're talking IJs, but it also makes me think about inlands and Darwins. And
Man, I
why,
love inlands.
Dude, aren't they awesome? I saw that picture you
great.
posted up of the snake in the sun, and it was
Blew
like,
my
holy
mind.
shit.
Yeah.
But you know, especially Darwins, they don't seem to get any love at all. So I've sort of started to. I know Nick's done some stuff. I know Kerry's done some stuff, and Kerry and Todd, they've done some cool stuff with Darwins, like that reduced pattern stuff that they do, and like they've done some really cool stuff. Nick's doing the tiger stuff, which is awesome. But yeah, to what Dario's saying, like inlands in 10 years from now.
Yeah.
Ooh, shit, man, it's gonna be nuts.
Yeah.
Hopefully I'm
Rules are
around to
there,
see it
for sure.
Yeah, you just got to do it, you know.
Mhm.
So I don't know. So I would say that if you're new to carpets or you're trying to figure out, like, you know, what would be a cool, if you want to do a breeding project or you want to get like on the ground floor, I guess, if you would say something like that, those subspecies or species, who knows, who cares, have so much potential, so much untapped potential. But to me, the IJs seem to have so much variability. I don't know if it's where they're coming from. I don't know if like different looks come from different parts of the island, but it just makes me happy to see guys like Craig and everybody else that are just, you know, just crushing it when it comes to IJs. I think we're going to have to buy a box from Craig and get it sent over.
Yes. Yes.
Why not?
Let's do it.
Buy
an entire clutch of his.
We're trying not to talk about jungles, Justin. God. But Justin is asking, do you all think that jungle madness will circle back around? I don't think the jungle madness has ever stopped, to be honest with you.
It better pick back up, though. I'm trying to get the hype on the striped jungles going.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Eric, I think your point is probably right on.
Yeah.
I mean, when people think carpet python that aren't carpet python people, definitely black and yellow jungles what pops into their head as like that is a carpet, you know. So yeah,
it's a good way to leave a lasting impression.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we'll have to get all the IJ fanatics in the US to sort of like.
No, just a couple, just us. They don't get the. No,
okay.
We'll just grab it. They don't need to participate. They can sit and be jealous.
I don't want to share.
No,
maybe a couple, maybe a few in the chat. We'll you know, just help pay for shipping. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we'll talk about it. You know,
okay.
There'll be a vetting process.
Yes, yeah.
Monthly dues. We're gonna check membership fees.
I'm a card carrying IJ guy.
See, you said IJ. You're out.
Out.
Damn it. Hey.
Imposters be gone.
Hold on.
Yeah.
You've said IJ like 10 times in the last 10 minutes.
Doesn't matter. I'm grandfathered in because I'm
sorry.
an Xer. So we called them IJs in my day.
Papuan python.
Yes. Who knows what they're going to call them next. But yeah, I don't know, man. I just think that there's just so much potential, and I don't know. I'm just excited about IJs. Have you guys seen anything that sort of like pops out to you, somebody or an animal or anything that you?
I love the dark stuff. That obviously you have the poison ivy stuff, but also there's some really nice dark ones at Riley's place. I'm super excited for that direction. And then, you know, I'm a sucker for anything with bands and colorful flaming, so I'm easy.
Yeah.
My first
Papuan
clutch,
python?
my first clutch
Papoo.
of carpets this year will be from that really black female, that really dark girl.
Oh, really?
I'm curious to see how the babies come out.
I bet you that they hatch out all normal looking, and then they'll get darker as they go.
Yeah, I think so too. I'm just wondering, like, what tone of red are they going to be? Like that bright red, or are they going to be that like dark brownish red, and just like start on a much darker hue to begin with?
So that's a good point. I never thought about that. So the poison ivy babies had the darker red. They were definitely darker. They never really got light.
Yeah. So the clutch I hatched last year that I kept a pair from. Oh yeah, I did keep a pair from that. I kept them because they hatched out really dark, and their first shed, they were instantly like heavily melanistic. Like they didn't go through that orangey red, bright, colorful first couple shed baby stage. They went from like that darkish, like cherry red to instantly black. So I was like, oh, you're staying.
Very cool.
Yeah. So
there's a poison ivy offspring male that I have that just shed. And when I tell you that there's like these, it's like almost completely black, but where the saddles are, you know how like in the IJs they sort of have those banded saddles? At the bottom of the band is orange, and it looks so fucking cool, man. Oh my god. Nice. I was like looking at it the other day. I was like, holy shit, this is a cool snake. Like,
the first Papuan that I saw in person was one that was for sale at the vivarium when I worked there a couple of years ago, and it was really dark on top, orange flames creeping up from the ventral side, and it had one of the biggest heads that I've ever seen on a carpet python.
Really?
It was beautiful. It was such a pretty snake, but you know, at the time I was like, oh, scary. But
yeah, if you don't know what you're getting into, that bulldog head can be intimidating.
Yeah, and it was on like the top of that particular stack, so I just
right at head,
but that there's something about that tone of orange that you're talking about that they're capable of that's just a little different than everything else, especially if there's some blacks for it to really pop up against. I really love that. Yeah, I'm
trying to find the picture of the ones. Oh, here we go. Is this it? So this is sort of what the ones that I'm gonna send you guys look like that, with those orange right here. This is what I'm talking about. So the ones that you guys are gonna get look actually just like a snake. Yeah.
Yes, please.
That's so
and
nice.
then it's got the yellow head, which is just fabulous.
That's gorgeous.
Nice. Yeah.
I tried to pick up a few imported wild caught Papuans, but it did not pan out.
When? A while ago or recently?
I messaged you guys. There was an opportunity to get some through one of the importers that the vivarium does business with, but we were a little too late because East Coast time zone always gets first crack at the list.
Yeah, you got to be up at like 4 a.m.
Oh yeah,
Dang,
that's amazing. Yeah.
That's that snake in a different shot. So
none of my Papuan carpets look like that.
No,
they're all very different looks.
So much variation.
This is the one I was telling you about. That's the mom to that clutch. So you can see where it sort of comes from.
God damn it, I remember her.
Yeah. Love that snake. She's probably one of my favorite snakes. Look at that head, man. It's just like,
I remember that animal very clearly.
Stunning.
So yeah, I mean, there's just so many directions you can go. You know, like Yasser's stuff back in the day, he had like the poster child stuff that was like high orange. I got some of that too. I guess I still got to start really breeding this shit. Like high orange, like that. You know? really crazy potential. And this was the sire to that clutch that you guys are getting. And I guess if you're listening to this, you probably should go to YouTube. That's the sire. So you can see where that, I was trying to get that really, really nice orangey light color stuff to sort of go into the saddles. So.
Right.
Yeah, that's pretty.
I think you kind of pulled it off.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
thanks, man. I hope. And I'm trying to find I thought I had a picture of what I was talking, that one poison ivy baby when it was hatched out, of what it kind of looked like, but maybe not. I don't know. So there's just, I don't know, man. This was a crazy one I hatched out. Unfortunately, it didn't make it, but I love this pattern on this thing. It was just wild.
Jeez.
You know? It's just wild, like the stripes and shit. Yeah. So.
Oh man.
Luckily, I still have the sire. So things like that was another one that I didn't talk about was Dan. I think somebody brought him up in the chat. Romanowski. He has some amazing stuff.
Oh yeah. Wow! Look at that.
That's one of his. So just again,
that's
flames.
Yeah, exactly. That's kind of more like what I'm talking about with those flames.
That's crazy.
Well, I got the snake for you, my man.
You could literally have like a whole room of them and never be upset.
Yeah, man. Yeah, there's so I don't know. It just makes me happy. I've been in the game for such a long time, and to see that stuff come into fruition, and as fast, like I said, as fast as it's sort of happened, just seems really awesome. So I don't know. Absolutely. I wanted to give IJ some love. I don't get to talk about him with Owen because he doesn't like them, because he can't breed them. So I figured you guys would appreciate some IJ talk. I don't know.
Always.
Absolutely. I can't wait to be part of it.
Yes.
Right now I have nothing to add. I'm useless. I'm like Owen.
No, not really.
Well, at least you don't hide your appreciation for them.
He has a complex.
Yeah. So, what's to say? Papuan Talk has got some hype for the future of my collection. Yeah. Yeah, man. I think that they're. Send you
dude, the IJ selection, Papuan selection over the next few years, I think is going to be pretty insane, because there's a lot of people who've been buying Papuans because we've been stirring up the hype over the last 3 years.
Yeah,
I think starting this season and next season, you're going to start seeing a lot more people producing stuff with just like one pair, and you're going to see some cool stuff coming out.
Yeah.
And
Kendra produced some nice ones last year.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I think that means we'll see more strengthening of the granite deficiencies that are sort of dissipating in the hobby. They were pretty prevalent when granite first came on the scene due to inbreeding, and I think the scare of that and Nick doing work outcrossing and then the discussion and open discussion of that's helped. So I think we'll probably also start seeing some variation in granites now. Like, I've got a female who's going very yellow, and then there's some that have a lot of definition and get almost like a dorsal stripe in the way zebras do. Ooh.
Right. So this is the snake, but all of this is gone. It's completely black, except for these orange saddles.
Wow.
But it's as black as this substrate that it's on.
I want to breed it to a granite.
See how you can see. But
can you imagine a poison ivy granite?
No, I wonder what that would look like. But it's interesting. See how they're like the head sort of fills in, and now it's just completely black.
Yeah.
So I don't know what's going on with them genetically, but they've produced the same thing over and over and over again. So
very cool.
Yeah. So
and they shall never leave.
Well, you got a male coming, Riley, at some point when we ship out, because I want to
exactly who he's going to pair with.
I would be curious to see what happens with that. And Robert, yes, one of yours is from that same clutch that Riley and Lucas are getting from. So I guess you can feel happy about that. And I think Jason's looking for a double het. Yeah. And I got one with your name on it. I just need Owen to sort of resex them to make sure that it's a male.
I forget. Have you done a Poison Ivy baby back to Poison Ivy baby yet?
It was supposed to be this year, but I think I missed the window. Yeah. But next year for sure will be Poison Ivy to Poison Ivy, 100%.
I was gonna say, if that's not on your to-do list, I might have to have you throw a female in there, and I'll do whatever it takes. Because that, like, I'm really curious. Like, I'd be really curious.
Yeah. Well,
baby back to mom, baby to baby. See what those do.
Well, since you have such you have a lot of wild caught stuff and all that.
Yeah.
And the thinking is like, I guess you got to sort of think about these projects in a way that if you're doing something that really isn't out there or you're trying to do it, I'd like to send it to somebody, number one, that's passionate about IJs, which I know Riley is, and has stock that he can sort of do some interesting pairings that maybe I can't do, which he can do. And, is a friend so that I'm not, going to get screwed or something like that. Not that I, you just don't send something like that off to somebody that.
Mm-hmm. I have 7 potential suitors he could go to.
Right. Yeah. And it's just curious to see, like, especially with that, I don't know what's going on genetically. My guess since the beginning is that it's similar to the gene IMG in boas, but it's for a python. That's sort of my thought. So I don't know.
Only one way to find out.
And I love the Poison Ivy stuff. I do. I really do. A melanistic carpet to me is just going to be fantastic. And to have it be an IJ to me that's a double win. But I think a lot of the selective breeding, though, that can be done is sort of like.
Yes, sir.
Well played, Robert.
You, Robert. I knew it. Oh, man. So
on the day of the Poison Ivy's wedding. Caramelized onions.
This is the day of my Poison Ivy's questioning.
Excellent. Oh, that's great. I expect when we come herping to have a burger with some caramelized onion, and if it doesn't have that sweet caramelized onion, no IJ for you.
When you finally get over here, I'll pick you up from the airport. There'll be onions on your seat.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, this has been a problem for me.
Onions?
And this is no. No, IJs, right? Because to do these projects, you have to hold stuff back, which means that you have to like let go of things. And it's one of the reasons why it's one of the many reasons why I moved away from like being morph combo breeder type of thing. Mm-hmm. Jason's gonna cook the burger. Excellent. Medium rare. Yes. IJ for you. But when you're holding back like a clutch, especially like with Poison Ivy stuff, I've had 3 clutches from them. 3 clutches, and I have all of them animals. That's a lot.
That's like 30-something babies.
That's a good amount.
Yeah. So
it's not easy to burk a clutch, let alone 3.
It is not. No, definitely not. So, but anyway, IJs, I love them.
Get you some.
Yeah.
Get you
some. The underrated Morelia.
That's inlands, and you know it.
Yeah, that's true. We can switch and talk about inlands for a minute. Holy shit, man! So it surprises me that one has. No. It surprised me that you thought that it would have. So you have what? Which
the snake
line?
that I just posted up that we're talking about is the Mutton 2020 Schofield outcross, quote, quote, quote.
Okay. Quote,
So-
quote, quote.
So it's the Schofield paired to the Paul Harris striped animal, quote, quote, quote.
Oh, yeah. I
Yes.
gotcha.
Yeah. But I wasn't expecting it to have that much red. I don't know. It seems like the Mog animals tend to have more of that. And,
Yes.
you know, she's still
Yes.
growing. So to have the pigment that she was flashing me this early on in the game, I'm excited. See what she looks like at 4 years old.
It's interesting that I think the way to go with breeding inlands, and maybe I'm wrong, but I'm thinking of what Tim has done, Paul, Nick, I guess to a certain extent, Justin, outcrossing them seems to like really bring out the best of both worlds.
Right. I'd love to get obviously Mog blood, but also AAR stuff.
That's what I'm
the
waiting
equation. I think a lot of folks are eyeing that with you know, eager eyes. But I see what you're saying. Yeah, it seems like there's a lot untapped and a lot that kind of pops out when you cross streams.
I don't know if you remember when Tim first produced so basically he crossed the two lines, right? Schofield and the Mog line. And he got these like reduced patterned, you know, I'd love to see what they look like now, but holy shit, were they nice. They were like freaking fabulous looking snakes. And like, who else is breeding them in the US? Does Kerry and Todd breed them or no?
Yeah, I think Todd still has all theirs. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Corey Martin has some. Julander, Mutton. Who else?
I don't know.
Ryan Young got a clutch from his this year.
His was really holy shit.
Yeah.
That one. God damn.
Well, of course it was. It's Ryan Young.
This is true. This is true.
I don't know if they breed them, but I've seen underground reptiles sell inlands on Morph Market.
How dare you?
I'm just saying.
I'm just kidding.
Maybe the fact they're selling them is because they could never breed them.
They're probably wholesaling them from somebody who's hush hush on the internet, probably.
Right. Yeah.
I want to be the hush hush person on the internet. That's what I want to be. Like, I want my snakes to be the hush hush backyard deal. Here you go. Take these. Don't tell them I bred them thing, you know?
Yep.
Right. Oh, well, okay. So here's a good point. Ian brings up, he says, I think the work to get inland babies feeding is something that influences the lack of popularity. I haven't had to deal with that yet personally, obviously, but I have heard it is really tough sometimes. They're not as willing to eat out the egg as most other carpets. Nick has talked to me about that a lot. It sounds like they're a little finicky. So
do you think that's due to closer to wild caught, or do you think like what do you think? Do you have a thought on why?
I'm not sure. I think, is it correct that they're probably skink and lizard specialists when they're little dudes? Do we know that?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah,
100%.
for sure. So maybe they're just not willing to deviate from plan A. Easily. You know, we see this with species.
Diamond pythons are just
Bredls can be a little bit trickier than say jungles, etc., etc. I don't know.
Ian, I wonder if Ian, did you try like the chick down and all those kind of crazy things to try to get them going, and no luck with any of that? I'd be
Nick
curious
uses chicken broth.
Chicken broth is one, yeah. Or you could use lizard skin. Luckily, I have some, and you have some.
So, I mean, that is a good point. You know, similar to why maybe blackheads aren't more widespread. And people Wait, why are you laughing? What happened?
Because Craig said, I'm assuming he's talking about the inlands when he says they're ugly. That's why everybody doesn't want them.
How dare you?
Did you see Ian's response?
Yeah. Look, pictures do not do them justice.
No, 100%. I'm with Nathan. Like, why not feed them? Just feed them lizards, man.
Mm-hmm. Sure, go ahead.
Like, I don't get why we're so against that. I don't know. That's gonna be probably my route, but.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, they're docile, so they're kind of like the bredli, right? Because
Right.
bredli is sort of the same way, right? They're not ready to kill something.
Right. All of my bredls, I got lucky. They were pretty willing to feed, but it was never, they didn't strike for a long time. It was just leave the pinky next to the hide and disappear and let them, think they're alone. They're just timid. Yeah. And I think that's part of the reason why they're more docile. Like, they just don't like to bite things. Their instinct is to run a lot, not defend.
To that point, I think that possibly is why Darwins are such a struggle, right? Because they are, oh my God, every Darwin I've had has been next to impossible to. Once
Really?
they're going, they're good, but like just getting them to that point has been crazy.
Yeah, I got a little taste of that with the one blackhead baby last year.
Yeah,
you got to be willing to take a bit of extra time if you're going to do that kind of species, but it's a labor of love.
Right.
Well, Brett and Riley have the same bredls from Demon Spawn, apparently.
The only mean ones in the entire U.S.
Yeah, I don't know. What are you guys doing
Riley's
with these
in
poor
Brett's house.
snakes?
I'm feeding and trying to breed them. Saying nice things about them always, I swear.
I don't know, man.
Let's get back on Papuans. Say screw inlands. Let's get back to Papuans. How are Papuans to go as Neos? I haven't had any trouble with them. Easy.
Look,
Easy,
so
easy.
friendly. Not a mean bone in the body.
Yeah, look at that.
Oh.
What are we looking at? A hypo stripe or?
Yeah, she's my holdback.
Ooh, nice.
Friendly.
Very cool. When Justin sent me, I know this isn't Papuan talk, but let me just deviate for a second. When Justin sent me the 1-year-old pygmy python, what the hell, man? It's
Demon?
like this big. No, it's just like that big. I'm like, wait, what? Oh man.
Yep, they're
So
teeny tiny.
Feed it.
I cannot imagine what it's like to get them going.
You have to use like pinky mouse tails.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Think about that.
Yes.
No,
I
thank
know.
you.
Yeah. But they're so
I thought
beautiful.
children I were hard. Good Lord.
So Craig's never had a problem with them going. I think that's what Craig is saying.
I've never had one ever have trouble. Like, they hatch. Once they shed, I wait 3.5, 4 weeks. First meal, frozen, thawed, fuzzies or small hoppers, and boom, they all take right away.
Yep. Never had
Every time.
Any of them that I had, never had a problem with them.
Yep.
I wonder why. I wonder what the difference is. Like, why?
Maybe there's more rodent availability over there. Less reliant on frogs and geckos, perhaps.
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah, maybe.
Just a guess.
More hostile environment. Bite first, ask questions later.
Maybe. I don't know. Those ones that Riley sent me that were like second generation are just evil.
Yeah, dude, when I try and change the F1s, like, and clean them out from 2019, because they're getting big now, I put them down because, like, I just don't trust them, and they are like me. They like wrench my hand down and try and like find what's offending them, and like they're on the hunt, and then they just stare me in the face and like, get away from me, stop it. And they're like just evil little bastards.
Stop it.
Even the ones that I've had though that were like that, they've chilled out as adults. Like as they got older, they chill out. You know? Everything bites Riley. Yeah, I think
It
that's
does.
true.
It's not not completely incorrect, but
That's
silver
true.
lining. That's why he's TikTok famous.
That's right. We forgot about that.
Hey.
Yeah.
All
Look at
right,
you.
all right, all right.
Taking social media by storm. I like it. I did I don't know. I think that I think that you're probably over the next couple of years. I think the thing that I've always loved about Papuan carpets is the fact that with jungles, you sort of have a two-tone snake, but with Papuans, IJs, they sort of have 3 to 4 different color palettes that you can work with, and you have like some that go towards this brown look, and then like some of the stuff that Craig has where it has more of this yellow look. And it's like you can sort of get somewhere in between that. But even the yellow one, when it has that like the black and the what we call it chestnut type of color. Like, I
That, like,
think to
burnt
me,
orange.
Yeah, to really get that into adulthood to like, I think will just be like that.
Yeah,
you know?
so you
That
get
those
that
two
look.
contrast.
Yeah, that's a very high contrast, very high yellow, clean black, sort of high flamed look. Then there's stuff that has like low flames and purples and grays, or all black, or really nearly pinstripey pattern. It's not as broad and wide. I think you're going to see a lot more people pushing some of those looks further.
100%. Yeah.
It's cool, man. I feel like we're on the ground floor of what's going to happen in the next 15, 20 years with this complex.
Most are trying to breed out the black. I'm trying to add it in. Oh, that's interesting. So in Europe, most people are trying to breed the black out.
Interesting.
I think that's a cool look too. Sign me up for all the looks, please.
Yeah, I know.
Riley needs a warehouse.
Yeah.
I want big space for my Apodora.
NPR Serpentarium plus Eric's sister's plant house is a go, right?
Yeah, well, yeah, she's really pushing hard.
I like her.
Yeah, she's like pushing hard that she wants to make this happen. And I'm just like, okay, all right, well, that's the baby steps. Like, we're not just gonna like, so we'll see. I don't know.
I like it.
It could work, dude. A nursery could be done quite well. I mean, there's been a lot of nurseries that popped up in Sacramento in the last 3 years, kind of at the start of COVID, and they've been doing really well.
Yeah.
Yeah. People love plants.
I think so. This is another idea that she pitched to me, and I'm curious to see what everybody in the chat thinks and you guys think, right? She was talking about wanting to do a podcast type of thing where she was talking about plants, but from the aspect of reptiles and plants. So meaning like if you were going to set up an X, you would have this plant and this plant would do well in the vivarium. And, based off of, lighting or temperature or whatever it would be, humidity of what plants would do well with.
That would be awesome.
With what reptiles. So you think that would be
I would
pursuing?
Listen.
Yeah, it's at least definitely a few episodes of topic, no less, definitely good conversation, because I get asked that in the shop all the time. I don't know if that comes up at EBV.
It does. Most of the time I just tell them I have no idea. Every time I've tried it, either ants invaded or the animals crushed the plants. So
I tend to point people in the direction of pothos for most things, unless it's unless it's something a little lighter, and then you can do different things. Like, so that this one bioactive tank I built, an arboreal one in the shop, it's got all the foam rockwork and everything, and a trio of mossy leaf tails in it. And I've got 2 pothos trimmings that I propagated up in the top, and then it's got wandering Jew on the bottom that's just going crazy, plus live moss and everything. And it's doing really well just off of an LED canopy light. But yeah, and then having live plants in the shop, we've sort of learned like these ones need more direct moist soil all the time. These ones just need more misting. These ones need like different light periods, and it's all relevant. I mean, it definitely it crosses over in the reptile world for sure.
I think the thing of it, like what I can't find, and this is usually how I like try to like pursue ideas as far as either show topics or guests, or is like if you're looking for something like that, who does it? Like you'll have somebody that's a plant, like really knowledgeable about plants, but they're not necessarily as knowledgeable about reptiles. And not that my sister's super knowledgeable about reptiles, but she's super knowledgeable about plants. And I think I can sort of steer her in a direction to say, okay, we're talking about, I don't know, pick whatever reptile. We're talking a green tree. I guess that's the easiest one, but like
that's a great one for plants.
yeah. But besides pothos, because that seems to be the go-to for everybody that's doing green trees, and obviously for obvious reasons. But if you really wanted to do up the cage, what could you do?
Yeah, I think
cool.
For me, I would, if I didn't know who to start asking questions to, I would start looking up, iNaturalist photos or any photos of the animals in the wild, see what's out there, look up lists of plants that occur in the region, see if I can't ID some stuff and dig around and see what's close or realistic, what's available, commercially, and see how difficult that proves to be or not, and go from there.
Yeah, there is a plant. I said reptile. It's exotics, but ill exotics is in Philadelphia, and they're sort of do the same thing. They sort of have plants and reptiles, all these beautiful naturalistic enclosures and stuff. It's really kind of cool. Yeah,
nice.
It's definitely worth checking out if you're. I wonder if I can pull up.
I have one live planted thing right now, and that's those little Florida blue stripe garter snakes. I have asparagus fern.
Ferns are cool if you can keep them alive.
Yeah, it's fun.
I really like live plants with frogs.
Yeah. They have like these walk-in enclosures and stuff where they have plants and stuff in it. All these crazy,
sweet.
There's some cool stuff, man.
Fullest Prasinus and some Pac-Man frogs, some carpet chameleons. Oh, look at those! Sweet.
Yeah. Rainbow boa.
There you go.
But they kind of sell both, right? See, here would be like,
it's like a plant store with reptiles scattered in between. That's really cool.
Yeah.
That's really
so that's
cool.
kind of her idea, that's kind of where her mind is, to sort of have something along those lines. So
I like it.
Seems like it can be a little tricky, and correct me if I'm wrong, because I certainly don't know, but with desert species in particular, your options are sparse, wouldn't you say?
Yes.
Like air plants, succulents, and then what else?
Right. Yeah. And I used a couple of. Oh, nice. Tyler used it. I've never been to that shop. I almost went there, but I never made it there yet. But definitely something I want to check out, Tyler, for sure. But cool.
That's a cool concept.
Yeah, so I don't know. Maybe you guys will be working there or running it.
Boss, owners, sign me up.
Owen, Lucas is drunk again.
Oh, please.
Oh, there you go.
I'm very professional.
Only 2 beers at lunch.
I'm offended.
I did think that this was pretty cool. And this is what I will be closing on. I don't know what your guys. One of the things that I talked to Justin about this, and I've never really seen it, but baby carpets in the wild, and I've looked for them, and I don't know if I necessarily have seen it. However, Reptilia Australia posted up these little baby diamond pythons that were just out perching on the fence. And
oh, wow.
I thought that was just the coolest thing.
That's amazing.
He said it was basically it was a rainy, shitty day, which you can kind of see from this. You can see like
yeah.
At first, I thought something was wrong with its skin, but then when you kind of looked at
fresh
it,
born.
That's so cool.
It was 62 degrees
Jeez.
on the dash of his van, and he saw 3 of them on the fence while he was doing his coffee run. Beautiful. He saw the mother about a month ago, and he said that she looked like she was super dehydrated, but she was out sunning herself, and she must have been trying to get heat to finish hatching them out. But to even see that would be friggin' spectacular.
Yeah, pretty amazing.
But I'm glad to see that there's some baby carpets out there. So
diamonds, no less.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Of all the ones to see.
That's pretty incredible. It's always cool to see like actual in situ, reptiles using the man-made structures like a chain link fence, right? Like,
yeah,
it's kind of tailor-made for an arboreal snake to use as a jungle gym. So it's pretty neat.
Yeah, and I was wondering, I was thinking, why would they be on the fence? Were they just maybe making their way down? Because if you sort of look, here's another one. If you sort of look, you get a better shot of what's the habitat like behind it. So is it making its way down into that jungle? Poor little
I'm
snake.
wondering if the clutch is at the base of it and they just went up.
Right.
Those ones went up and some went out.
Maybe, yeah.
Definitely that instinct to go up.
Yeah.
Yes.
For no apparent reason other than safety.
Yes. Go up.
Yeah. Although it's probably pretty easy to get picked off by a bird on a chain link fence. So
yes. Yeah. And I guess it's again just 60 degrees out and they're just, just chilling. Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
just diamond
cool
things.
stuff. Yeah.
It's pretty damn cool.
Diamonds being diamonds.
Diamonds.
Oh, yeah.
Diamonds.
Yeah. So I don't know if maybe hanging on the fence for the rain, maybe it was a way of getting hydrated, or
maybe the fence was warm because it was metal with rubber coating or plastic coating. So maybe it's holding on to some warmth.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%. Interestingly, I moved one of my diamond pythons upstairs, like a younger one, and I have it in an Exoterra. And I'm me and my wife, every night we sort of look at it to see where it's at. So when I feed it, it eats, and then for the next 3 nights, it will go into an ambush position. But every night it changes where the ambush position is. And it's interesting when you're watching it and they can perch to where they can take advantage of, sort of being up and sort of doing that typical chondro type of, ready to nail it as it runs through the trail. So I'm showing it to my wife, and now she's all into it because every night the snake's in a different position. And I'm thinking I guess things just run through my head as far as like, oh, wow. So it didn't have any luck in this position. So now tonight it's going to try this different position, which it's not even like it moves all that much, but it's just in a different position. So if something was running along the trail, you might not be able to get it this way. But if you move this way, now you might be able to have access to it. And after 4 nights of doing that, on the 5th night, it retreated back to the hide and sort of, did it give up, or maybe it's just waiting in the hide now because it sort of had its head out a little bit. I fed it again, and sure enough, it went back through the same motion of all that, which I just find fascinating. And maybe to people that have snakes in cages, they see that all the time. I'm sort of new to the snakes in cages and not in racks. So it's just, I don't know. That's just so cool to me to watch that.
Super cool. Any new behavior that you observe is neat.
Yeah. So
awesome.
But you could really get keyed in on that to sort of like understand when your animal wants to eat. You know what I mean? Like you could watch for those subtle cues and say, okay, it's hungry, hit it. So maybe what I should have did is I should have fed it 3 nights in a row and then didn't feed it for, a month or so, you know what I mean? Or like a couple weeks or whatever it would be. But I don't know, man. Just crazy thoughts going through my head.
It's interesting
for
stuff
sure.
all the time.
Yeah.
So I shot over just now, Eric, a picture if you want to do another wild carpet.
Sure.
There was this really beautiful picture that popped up on my feed from just northwest of Cairns. It's a jungle. And I don't know. It stuck out to me. I like it.
It kind of looks almost jaggy in the back.
That's what I was thinking. The pattern is like kind of jag-esque, but that is...
so this was found sort of by Cairns?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay. Interestingly
Just
enough,
wanted to share.
It has a tiger head stamp.
Isn't it a little different?
it looks a lot like the carpets that we found up in that area.
Okay, cool.
Because it's got, see how this striping here is kind of like the railroad tracks.
Mm-hmm.
So they sort of have like that type of pattern, which is interesting. And then
a nice base color.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Wow.
I don't know.
Cool
It stuck out to me. I'm not sure why.
I can see why. Like, holy shit, look at that snake, man.
Yeah.
Definitely a tiger head, and
yeah,
that's not yellow and black. It's shit. Get it out of here.
I mean, there's some yellow in there. Give it a few generations.
Dude, I don't know. I almost like sometimes stuff like this a little more to the wild. To
Absolutely.
The look type of thing.
This looks like it was taken on some cement, but I bet you if you pan over to what the actual vegetation looks like in the area, that pigment's for a reason, you know?
Yes. Yeah. 100%. Wow, what a cool snake.
Yeah.
Look how the stripe is through the eye.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a good point, Riley. It has that tiger. So usually tigers don't connect here, but it definitely has that tiger.
Yeah.
I don't even know what we would call that. That's not raccoon, but you know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Weird
That's
mass
through the eye. Yeah.
Oh, I can't wait to get back. Going in October.
Nice.
We're going to Queensland. We've decided. We've changed. We decided to go to Queensland in October. Oh, okay. I see. Okay. Very cool.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Yes.
Awesome.
Found by a friend.
Yes. Very cool. Yes. Somebody said Tristis eggs. Who has Tristis eggs?
Tristis eggs?
Alex got Tristis eggs this year.
Alex.
What's it say? Gotta say, because of your comment about watching your animals, it's because I had. Oh, yeah. Very cool. Congrats, man. That's awesome.
Can I have some Tristis?
Oh, yeah. You just get it.
I got a Timor monitor.
You're sick in the head.
Timorensis.
How's the other monitor doing?
The Timor or
the black throat? Did you have black throat or white throat?
He's great, but I'm scared.
You're scared that you're going to become a monitor person and not a snake person, or
no, just that it was a little bit too much of a crackhead decision.
Ah, gotcha. Okay,
but he's great. He's a 10 out of 10 wonderful lizard.
Okay,
he gonna be big.
What about the Timor? How's that one?
The Timor is awesome. I freaking love that thing. He gonna be small. Yeah, it's funny. It seems like, when that was an animal that somebody traded at work for a pastel calico ball python.
That's disgraceful.
Of course, I immediately hit up Mr. Alan Stevens and said, "What this?" And he proceeded to tell me, "Them cool." So I snagged it same day.
Nice.
And he's awesome. Definitely a male. Purported to be captive bred from a breeder. But yeah, no, it's like an Aki and a tree monitor had a baby. Tree monitor feet, Aki pattern, but a lot more like a black and white with kind of a yellowish background color.
Awesome.
I like him. He's fun.
Very cool.
Very
cool. Yeah, I think next on my list is probably Strophuris as far as lizards go.
There's a golden tail geckos that I really like at work. That's Strophuris, right?
Yeah.
Those are the ones that I have.
I like those.
They're cool. What species is that? Which one is it? What's Tinacata?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. They're super cool. I'm looking at mine right now.
Do you find yourself just staring at the lizards more than the snakes? I think
100%.
All the time.
Yeah.
All the time. What I try and figure out is what their perching options might say about their decision throughout the day. Because they don't move a lot, but if you look at them like first thing it lights on, middle of the day, and a couple times in the afternoon, you'll notice them in slightly different positions. Mm-hmm. And I find my females spend more time near the heat than the male does.
Really?
But the females also eat more because they are a little bit bigger now. So I wonder how much that has to do with it. But like they have their preferred spots, and the females, it just seems to be up high near the heat, and the male, he's like pretty far away from the heat, just chilling on the low branch. So, and that's like his regular deal. So kind of interesting. Yeah, they come alive at night though, man. They're so cool.
Yeah. Is there a way that you think that how do you watch them at night? I guess should be my question. Do you at all?
Yeah. So what I'll do is I'll take my phone flashlight and I'll angle it down and like way behind me. So it just puts just enough light to kind of dimly light up the room. Or I have my little shrimp tank near it and I've got a blue light on it. So I'll turn a blue light on. So it's just night light. And then I can see them through that without bothering them. But yeah, as soon as you put like an actual daylight on them at night, they kind of like freeze, like what? But they'll like watch the shadows if you're moving stuff. So I try not to disturb them with as little light as possible.
The Underwoodosaurus are very similar, right? As soon as the lights go out, they're out, right? You come back in the room, and the one time I turn on the light just by like happenstance, and I think they're like, "What?"
They like literally freeze and go, "What the hell?" And like, boom, gone. Yeah,
man, so
totally deer and headlights thing. It's funny. Yeah, they're awesome. I need more for sure, but yeah, with limitations, I'm not a huge fan of having to remember to get bugs. That's still weird.
Yeah, I've got the full bug thing going, man.
Okay, so this is what we're gonna close on. So do you have? Are you breeding your own dubias and stuff?
I'm working on it. So I set up a little colony, but my understanding is that you can't get it to a point that you can actually start withdrawing from it for months. So I just put a bunch of dubias in a big plastic container with a ton of egg crate, and I keep tossing food in there, and I'm just ignoring it for the next few months, and then I'm going to see what it looks like when as time goes along. There's definitely little ones that are being born in there. They're certainly reproducing. But I can tell if I started pulling stuff out of it at this point, I would just have an empty bin.
Yeah,
Right.
you gotta give it time to build its numbers up to a sustainable level for what you're trying to pull out of it.
So I'm just pretending it's not there, but I did start one.
Ideal is, any sort of plastic bins, anything that they can't climb up that's lightweight and containable, lots of surface area, so lots of egg crates, keep them clean, keep them warm, keep them dry, keep them. So what we do at the shop is we have an old bathroom that we turn into a bug room, and it's heated to like 85 degrees all the time. And just tons of egg crate, and we put lids on top of the egg crate so it's easy for us to access and clean. But one little like plastic lid is a dish for like the mixture of like ground like dried Missouri tortoise pellets and rodent chow and oat bran and some Pangea and eggshells all mixed up in there. And then we'll also offer them its own separate like tray of water crystals, so it's contained so it doesn't get everything all wet. And then throughout every other week, we rotate between carrots and oranges and just make sure that they're getting produce. Pretty much these massive bins have like thousands of them. So we have to do that every day, but they produce thousands and thousands.
Yeah. So I guess my question is, when you're cleaning them, what do you do? You're taking out those egg crates and then you're cleaning the bottom and then putting the egg crates back in, or do you have like two different tubs and you just rotate them, or what?
So if you're trying to sift out for certain sizes, the easiest way to do that is to have a stack of buckets and stagger drilled holes through them. So it's like bigger to smaller gauge holes if you're trying to sift out different sizes. But that's for us, like sifting stuff at the shop. If you're just trying to clean, you have a second bin, take the egg crates with as much as the living dubia on it as possible. And then you can either sift by hand, or you can pour them in a bucket that you've drilled holes or made some sort of like a sieve that sifts out all the frass. And then inevitably you're not going to be able to get it all perfect. So you'll probably be doing a little bit of hand picking and pulling out like old food and dead ones and molts and exoskeletons and things. But as long as there's enough like surface area and they're healthy and you're on top of the feeding and the water crystals and stuff, you shouldn't have too much die off. The only thing you should really be dealing with at the bottom is like a little bit of frass and molts.
So the water crystals. Oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, is it overblown, the risk of working with dubias in your home and developing an allergy as a result of the waste? Because that's something I've read about quite a bit.
No, I don't think that's overblown. I think that is pretty common, actually.
Okay. Yeah. So that's another consideration.
I've heard of multiple people that happening too.
Yeah.
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 Guy told me a guy load with oxbill critical care, so I've been dubia. What? I bet.
So the oxbow critical care is like this stuff that you can mix into a paste. There's a carnivore one and there's a veggie one. It's really good for like animals that are crashing and you need to get food in their stomach. But it's really good stuff. I mean, roaches will generally eat anything, but you want to give them good stuff.
Gut load. She's saying gut load, where I'm saying guy load with.
Yeah, Brett, that message, man.
I'm like, wait, what?
Are you doing this one-handed, buddy? No.
What are you doing with an ox and loading your guy? What is this? You on a farm over there? We need to know.
I wonder if doing it outside helps with it. I definitely would wear.
If the temperatures are warm enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, you just mean for the cleaning. Yeah.
Yeah. And I definitely would wear a mask for sure.
Wear a mask. I
just have a feeling that I would have an asthma attack.
Especially after your long COVID.
I know.
And if you're just letting them run ambient in the snake room in the winter, you'll notice your production goes down. So you're either going to want to have them on like a heat pad with a thermostat or some sort of way.
You know
to
what I
heat
thought
them.
about? I thought about like putting them at I have the tubs probably aren't big enough, but I thought about putting them on the bottom of my snake like racks or whatever, or like Actually, I actually have a couple racks that I don't even use anymore, so I could probably put them in there.
As long as
Just
they
so
can't
that they
climb
would
out.
be. Well, yeah, it would be. It would be like the lid is. You could put that lid on the one tub.
Nice.
So yeah.
Yeah, then your only concern is just ventilation, because if it gets too much moisture buildup in there, then you'll have problems with colony dying off. And then the other trick too is if like everything seems good, but you can't figure out why you're not getting a lot of baby production, look at your adults and see if you can get a rough idea of your male to female ratio. Sometimes all it takes is culling like, half of your males and dropping that male number down, and all of a sudden it booms.
Right.
So,
I don't know. Yeah.
Are dubias your primary feeder at this point for your insectivores?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I guess that for me, I'm still doing mostly crickets. I bring home a box of crickets from work and dump them in a big plastic bin here. So the dubias are kind of on the side
that way.
for me. Mm-hmm. Because a lot of my animals don't prefer them either. Like they'll just die in the bowl a lot of the time.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
But maybe that's because they get
dubias. Well, then dubias go and sit and face into a corner and stop moving, whereas crickets are constantly moving. So if it's an animal that's really stimulated, like a frog or a monitor, that's what's gonna win.
At least, well, I'm curious what you've experienced, but the Kimberly I have here seems to be very visually turned on for feeding. I can't get it to eat anything that's not moving.
Really? Huh.
Yeah.
I don't know. So I don't. Well, I got my Kimberleys from Mike, and he sort of hand raised them.
Right.
So
they're special.
Yeah. So they've already equated me the food monkey. I use a white dish for them, and I just put them in the white dish, and then I just I do the same routine every time, so I pick up the tongs, just the same exact routine, because my thought would be that if they visually see me doing X, that they're going to equate it with eating. I don't know. I'm assuming that they're that smart, but I'm not really sure.
I would agree with that. Yeah.
And then they sort of get in place, and then I sort of put that dish in, and then they just go to town. They don't.
That's cool. Are yours feeding on pinky parts?
Siri's talking to me. I sort of backed off. I was feeding them when I first got them. I fed them pinky heads, chopped up pinkies, basically.
Okay. Yeah. I haven't had luck with that with the Kim. No. The Ackies
freaking love that. Oh my god.
Do they?
Yeah. Oh, they're like, what is this?
We'll see.
It's like me with caramelized onions.
Full circle. Woo! That's what I'm doing wrong. I gotta put caramelized onions on the pinky parts.
Yes. And I did. Oh, I forgot to say, I also got this awesome blue tongue skink from Justin.
Nice.
Was another addition. I think I sent you guys the picture of it, but
it's beautiful.
Yeah, very cool. Northern. So I got the Ackies, the Geckos, the blue tongues, the Kims. Ay. I'm loving it.
I want pilbaras.
Yes, pilbaras would be nice. Yes, especially the ones if you go to Justin's Australian addiction page where he does the visits, and he went and saw them in the wild. Oh my god! Wow, eggs is another. That's another addition I use for all
scrambled eggs. Yeah. Monitors seem to love that stuff.
But the blue tongue skinks absolutely love the hornworms.
Oh yeah,
they are
that's
blue tongue
crack.
skink crack.
Yeah,
they're like
yeah,
give it to me.
That'll get a blue tongue running so fast.
Yeah,
they love that stuff.
The thing I like about them is I just feed them that blue tongue skink diet and add some vegetables and some fruit and hornworms every once in a while. So
yeah, they'll kind of eat anything.
Yeah. Loving it.
Good stuff.
So
always.
I think we did it, gentlemen.
Yay!
was good. It was good to be back with the three of us and not
Absolutely.
two of us or one of us or
In a little while.
yeah. So yeah, man. Yeah, it was good discussion. Wait,
sir.
what's this? Do we ever notice the pattern with blue tongue skinks?
Oh
Yes,
yeah, Eric.
absolutely,
We talk
100%.
about that all the time.
Right.
Yeah,
The Centralian blueies look very reminiscent of Bredls. The
100%.
northern blueies have colors reminiscent of Darwin's.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, they are the lizard version of carpets.
Western blueies look like imbricata,
Mm-hmm.
so on and so forth.
Although the Centralian ones, I don't know, they just look funny to me. Like
They look like
grumpy
little
old
potatoes.
man. They're like, you
They're
know,
like-
get off my lawn. You know,
They're like
Really?
the
Just
short little potatoes.
Really? Because all blue tongue skinks look like that to me.
I know, but the Centralia ones have this like I don't know, this like their head is different or something, or they're chunkier or something, but they just look mad all the time. Like,
They're extra potato-ish and
yeah.
like no
it's
neck.
cool.
Grumpy fat old men with no neck.
yeah,
I know a few people.
And then
like
they go,
that.
then they turn sideways, make themselves look even bigger, and they're like, "I'm an orange angry potato.
I told you to get off my rock. Get off my rock.
I'm gonna bite you in the pinky toe, you little shit."
Oh my goodness. I would imagine a
Good.
bite from a blue tongue skink though is probably pretty bad. So
Yeah, it sucks.
yeah.
I've been bit
I
by a
hope
couple of northerns.
Have you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I get bit by damn near everything as long as it isn't venomous. Things try
That's a
me.
good point, Riley. I don't know. You and Owen have this tendency to appreciate the more painful side of herpetoculture.
You know, somebody's got to learn.
Yeah. Okay.
I have not taken any venomous bites unless you count a Boiga cyanea. And I've come close to being bit by a crocodilian. I had a Chinese. Actually, I've come close a few times, but you know the dwarf came and doesn't count. That's Muffin. She was psycho. A Chinese alligator swung around, and it's like that fourth tooth. You know that sideways one that sticks out on those guys. Hit me right on the thumb as she was trying to grab me.
Wow.
So like the force of her head whipping back and the tooth hit me in the thumb so hard it actually bruised my thumb for a week just from the tip of her tooth hitting me. It hurt.
You'd
like
have been in
hell.
trouble.
Oh hell yeah, dude!
Oh man.
You know how like that? I mean, that alligator has since passed away. I learned, but I used to like. I could call that alligator right over to the water. I could touch the water, and she'd swim right over. Could tap it, and she'd like chuff at me in the morning. I could like reach over and scratch the nuchal cluster on the back of her neck, and she'd like kind of do this, and then I'd feed her, and she'd swim off, and I could sit next to this alligator, and she would just be like, "You're not feeding me," and then after 5 minutes, just get up and walk away. Like she was dope. She was really cool.
That's
so
cool.
I had a bond with that animal, and one time I just pushed it a little too far, and she's like, "No, you're not pulling me backwards by my tail anymore." Whack! And I said,
And
"You're
fair
right.
enough. Fair
I'm
enough.
not."
Wow.
And I never did.
She won.
She won.
Yeah.
And we found the line, and I never crossed it.
There you go.
Cool.
Okay, let's get out of here. So check out the website, MoreliaPythonRadio.com. If you want to get in touch with us, info at MoreliaPythonRadio.com. USARC, make sure you support those guys over there. They have a YouTube channel now, so you should go and at least subscribe to that at the very least.
Absolutely.
There you go. Lucas is representing.
I had to get another shirt because my first one got a hole in it.
Yeah, there you go. I like it. But yeah, definitely should support them at this current junction.
Yes, sir.
Because there's some legislation going on, and hopefully we get that squashed. So
Yep.
everything that you need to know about us is over on the website, and you can go from there, and it'll take you to the Patreon, the Teespring, the this, the that, all those things. What else?
Boas.
Boas is coming out. There's Wednesday, we're recording a new Gecko podcast. We're going to be talking about knobtails. And we are doing a field herping podcast And that's going to be what is in our backyard, to give more appreciation to what is in your backyard. So if you're interested in starting to herp, this is where you should start, in your backyard, and appreciate what you got going on. So yeah, so
that's awesome.
A couple things on the docket. I think Bows will probably be out Monday. Yeah, we got David Brahms coming on NPR this upcoming week. We got Gary Schiavino lined up. We got Corey Martin lined up. Who else do we got? We're getting close to the 500th episode. That'll be, shenanigans and all. So.
Yeah.
But yeah, all good stuff.
Right on. If you want to get in touch with, Riley, was that your cat? Okay. If you want to get in touch with me, Centralian Exotics, a few baby brettles left, more stuff on the way. That is it.
Okay.
Brett, I don't have a problem.
You said it, not us.
Yeah.
That kind of talk's not going to get you a free Western Blackhead box.
Yeah, screw him, man. Screw him. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And
Lucas, did you just
Riley?
do your thing?
I did my thing.
Okay, I
Yes.
was too busy laughing.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can find me on everything Riley's Reptiles or Riley Jimison on YouTube.
Oh shit,
Yeah.
I didn't share that, but very cool. We'll share it next time.
Oh,
Sorry about
what,
that.
your YouTube? The NPR network YouTube? Got to share that.
Oh yeah, that. Yeah, for sure. No, Lucas sent pictures of his monitor that
Bring it
yeah.
out next time. It's all right.
Yeah, next time.
Something
No
for the
worries.
people.
His new
That's right.
new four-legged impulse buy.
Yes.
Hey.
It's beautiful.
I feel so attacked. All right. I will
Lucas,
address.
this is how you figure out what you like, man. Don't listen. Don't listen.
I will
Just,
address all of these attacks. Next
You do you, boo.
Write them
You
down.
do you, boo.
Save them for the airing of grievances episode when I've forgotten.
I take an L. I take an L for the black throat. Everything else I stand behind.
Oh, Nelson.
Yeah. It's like Owen having retakes. We all make mistakes.
I done
Yeah, what are
told
you gonna
you.
All right.
Enough of
Have a great
yours.
weekend, everybody.